So friends, what are we going to talk about? Perhaps you don't want to talk. I'm sure there must be something. Yes, sir.
The question came up at the dinner table the other day. Is it possible to reach this enlightenment or whatever we seek in this lifetime?
Is it a right question?
That was how we put.
Do you think it's a right question?
It has to be possible. But
Yeah, I know that's the standard thesis. I'm familiar with the standard thesis. I have been since I was 18. I also learned in the course of time that many things in the area of received information, uttered and repeated over Lord knows how many centuries, are not applicable to the unique human conditions of here and now. Did you raise a hand, madam? Or, oh, good.
Yeah.
Speak.
You started on a very serious note, so it's from that. You're saying the vibes aren't good. Does that mean, when I say something, things are going to happen within our lifetime? It's similar to that, but not.
Oh, yes.
And if so, what
Oh, yes.
are we to do?
It's better not. It's better to live in the moment and get the moment right, rather than have anticipations about the future that won't help the future and might not help you either. Get the moment right. It's from the moment that everything will emerge. There are enormous pressures upon the human race now, and even more so pending. There are many surprises. Some of them revelatory surprises, which we don't deserve, but which we'll probably end up with anyway. So it is always the moment that counts. Why is that? The past is merely a thought form. Memory is only a thought form. It has uses in that the thought form is a message, possibly a vision, which has a meaning. And our personal past has great meaning for ourselves. As a parable. As a parable. As a revealing dream. The Buddhic light, which is within, is ever seeking to prompt and awaken our fuller sensibilities, and will bring to us the encounters, the experiences, the interactions, and the recollections which are necessary to us. It's all a learning process. We are here to learn. We are here to awaken. We are here to become more. And as I think we stressed the other day, there is a vast paradox. We only become more by becoming less. And conversely, we only become less by becoming more. A saying which has a close relationship with the words of the Lord. You must lose yourself to find it. Not you must lose yourself and then it's gone. But then you lose yourself. Gosh, there it is. It's a strange business. Are we engaged in the quest of enlightenment? I used to think I was, I hope I was, many, many years ago. Because I'd read it in books, that's what you've got to do. And I'd heard it from gentlemen in yellow robes, who must be respected. But if nature is the teacher, nature has not bestowed that preconceived route. I won't say what it bestowed, that's beside the point. I'm reminded of the words of Vivekananda. When he was in America, first he was delighted at the liberty enjoyed by so many. what he saw then, relatively, as the free state of women, for example. He relished it. But as he wandered around and looked a little deeper, he became vastly concerned for the soul of America, for the soul of modern civilization. Engrossed, enmeshed in a pattern of psychological responses and developments which were feeding only the surface needs of the human being, to the detriment of that deeper obligation, which is the root purpose of why we are here. And if we don't fulfill in some degree that purpose of nature, nature will find us irrelevant. Nature has no sentiment. And he knew that. And he looked at America and he warned. At the end of the last century, he warned, this civilization is facing unbridled catastrophe unless it can begin to reach its inner depths. Therefore, he urged upon America, seek within, find your soul, turn aside from materialism, discover what is meant by meditation. Discover the core of your being. Then all things become possible. He had a completely different message for modern India. In terms of modern India, certainly, he was a socialist. I sympathize with that. As a concept, as a working hypothesis, it has a measure of resonance in my own thinking. What a great man. What a rare being. He was everything. He was the counterpart to Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna was almost totally non-functional. His external state was Vivekananda. Physically, he was an athlete, champion wrestler, good gymnast, did all sorts of things. He was a musician and a singer He was a great orator in the sense that the rishis of India would have understood that. Most of all, he was a jnani, one who saw deeply. His message would change according to the context. What he said to America was quite different from what he said to India. And when in India he came upon a group of emaciated little men, all wrapped up in themselves, in the quest for personal salvation to the exclusion of all else. This incarnate whirlwind turned on them and said, "What nonsense is this? Stand up, develop your muscles, give up this incarnation for the good of the world." What he told India was, now is not the time to be all wrapped up in yourself. Every age has a unique dharma. Every individual has a unique dharma. I'm well aware of what the traditional scriptures say in terms of dharma in most of the major texts of most of the world faiths. They are not irrelevant, but what is needed in the here and now? What is needed in the here and now, in every age, has to be uniquely discovered in the here and now. We have to sense what the light is bringing to our feet. I know the thesis of Raj Yoga and Vedanta and all that. Knew it before some of the folks here were born. And it was what I wanted to hear. Oh yeah. What was the first thing? When the chela is ready, the guru appears. That is an old law, as a matter of fact. It's not wrong. Then would say those who assumed a persona of knowledge, they would say, it's a matter of evolution. As soon as you are ready, and only when you are ready, the Guru will appear. The true one, the true Guru that you need. It will happen. Never happened. Never happened. I met some very interesting people. Oh yeah. I met one man who was extraordinary. Quite extraordinary. Years ago. Enough to be able to perceive that extraordinary ones do exist and wander on this planet. They do. sort of in disguise. Now there's our problem, isn't it? Oh, there is our problem. What we want are gurus with a big G on the front. And there's plenty of them. You know, it's a strange business. Incidentally, on the subject of Paul Brunton, I was rather surprised that no one has picked up the reprint of Paul Brunton's Secret Path. It's been out of print for donkey's years. Goodness knows when it's going to go out of print again. I shall grab it while it's there, friends. It's a good book. It's the book that started me inquiring. Many years ago, in the most abnormal circumstances. Here was I, the page ever open, devouring what I was reading. Devouring Ramana Maharishi on the one hand, but having to hearken at the same time to the mellifluous tones of the Sergeant Major. Very curious experience. Being tugged and, as it were, even remonstrated with from both levels and different perspectives. Are you Lucifer? It's all very strange. One does have to preserve a sense of humour, not take it all too seriously. Anyway, Paul Brunton records back in 1935 when he went to India first. It was very, very difficult for a white man to find a true teacher. The palefaces were regarded with suspicion, indeed distaste. And in some quarters, if a white man's shadow fell on their rice bowl, even though they had very little rice and no money to buy more, they throw it away, because it had been defiled by the white man's shadow. Anyway, he wandered around, and it's an interesting story, Brunton's story. Seeking a real guru, a true guru. No one wanted to take him on. Things have changed now. As Krishnamurti put it, delightful man, not long before he died. The gurus are swarming over Europe, the whole damn gang of them. Are they what we need? What a paradox it is. Someone who stands up and says, look at me, I know, because I'm special. I could prove it. I've got special clothes to wear and a special name. And I can give you a special mantra and all that stuff. Is that what we need? Or does nature require something else of us? Is the true teacher unidentifiable in our time? Because nature has unique purposes and unique requirements. We have fallen behind in our Dharma as a civilization, which is why these terrible calamities have assailed modern times. We have not kept pace with the depths of our own being. We have not kept pace with the nurturing of our inner state. We have been catastrophically externalized. In that sense, we were over-responding to the demands of nature. Because nature is saying in the here and now, there should have emerged a degree of poise and comprehension in humanity. And now is the time for service to take precedence over everything else. Service, the way of service, the meaning of service, which means not approaching anything with romantic good intentions, but finding that integration in the here and now that enables us to let go of our little egocentric predilections, what we think we want. And in that letting go, allowing life to reveal itself in the direction that we have to proceed. We must have a united view. Life is demanding that. Our whole civilization is based, in fact, upon the Greek concept of wholeness, which was wonderful, at its best, wonderful. So, we are a body. We need to foster the body. We are an intellect. We need to exercise the intellect. We need information. We need to acquire that. Most of all, though, we are a soul. But we are required to integrate, not separate, not divide up, but to have a holistic comprehension of the totality of our being through service. But service must begin not with good intentions, because if we have only good intentions and nothing else, whatever we do, if we are in chaos here, in imbalance here, we will only project without further mess of the essential wholeness of himself, which leads to the sensing, indeed the knowing, of oneness with the cosmos. Now, if you say we should have enlightenment and all that, it means we have concepts about what enlightenment consists upon. There are many rationalizations. Enlightenment is that which the divine knows is our need in the here and now, that will bring to us a revelatory fulfillment in the service and through the service of the light that is the true guide and guardian of our planet, of our solar system, of the universe itself. We must attune the instrument. We must balance ourselves in this basic paradox. It is a paradox of accepting. We must learn the meaning of acceptance. Selfless acceptance. At the same time, here is the paradox. We are gifted with the capacity for discrimination, discernment, viveka. And if we would act, we must act discriminatingly, which means also rejectively. Rejectively. Not this, not this, not this. And when it comes to social situations, we must be prepared to say, this is not the way. This is not the thing. This is the road to doom. Some people thought I was, a few years ago, round the bend. When I appear to have no regard whatsoever for personal survival in London's education system. I knew what was going on. I knew it. And when it reared its head under my feet, someone had to do something about it. And I did something about it. Which in career terms, in personal interest terms, nobody else could understand. I've been proved right. Sadly right. Grotesquely right. The hard facts of the child abuse ring in London, especially centred in certain boroughs of London, and most especially in Islington, that I've had a lot to do with. Islington is now under investigation by Scotland Yard. I knew it was there. They were too afraid. Poor little people. Lots of poor little people who knew it was there. Wouldn't open their mouths and say anything. We must be rejective. We must reject the toxic on all levels, beginning with this. But on all levels, in the earth, in the water, in the air, in the ether, and in the head. Only then are we fit, are we ready to become that unique creature with that unique understanding, necessary and pertinent to now, that nature will reveal. And what nature reveals, that is enlightenment. Knowledge is light, not information. Knowledge. Knowledge can only come, insight can only come, when and because it is born of light. What we need to know, we will know. The steps we need to take, we will find. Is the way and the purpose to gain some personal vision? Maybe we could solve our financial embarrassments by running a special course in personal vision and all that. But that's not the way, is it? To see, we need to be. We need to be what we are. We need to have that poise. Of receptivity and dedicated affirmation. We need to be one with the sun and the moon and the earth that is within us. It's all within. When we find it within, we will see it without. It may be. It may be. You may have a vision of light. If it comes, you'll never be the same again. Not quite. But I can tell you one thing. It won't come if you chase it. It won't come if you approach it with anticipations and preconceptions, parroting some old formula. And it certainly won't come if we are gibbering the words of some exploitatory so-called guru. We'll just be in a corner. We'll just be in hiding, from which nature will abruptly shift us in due course. But it may come when we're not looking for it. When we're not chasing it. When we have become as we should be in the here and the now. And this is why we do things which are based not on someone's prior instruction. Indeed, what we do is on nobody's prior instruction. It has happened because there has been revelation of what needs to be known. And that revelation is born of light. The light is already here. Truth is already imminent. As Ramakrishna put it, the grace of God is like an ever-blowing breeze. We have merely to raise the sail. We are then embarking upon the greatest adventure of all. The adventure in new life born of a unique consciousness that nature is bestowing upon those who would seek truly to serve the unfolding of the divine in the here and now.